tonight. I am fully inspired. They premiered 4 videos and oh, my heart is full. I'm thankful to be in the city. I love New York. I love the people I get to hang out with. YouTube is cool. Internet is cool. Sometimes it gets you down. Sometimes people's opinion on the internet gets you down. But this filled me with hope. But guess what? It doesn't stop. We don't stop tomorrow morning. I am waking up soups early and I'm going to a press event. No one knows about the Sony event right now. It is under wraps until you see this video. I low-key think it's going to be a new Sony RX100, what I'm filming with right now. If so, you know your girl loves this camera, so we'll see. We'll see. Just left the hotel yesterday. It was amazing. It's 9 a.m. A little groggy, but I had lots of coffee. So now I'm heading to an event, a Sony event. This is the Highline, that's the water. We're headed this way. So all over Twitter this morning there was announcements about the new Sony A7R III. That's actually the camera I just sold. I sold the 2, but it'll be interesting to see the video specs in it because that's what I'm most interested in. I'll probably hold out for the A7S III. This is the part where we go and try the cameras. Look, I don't think you guys have seen this guy since Cuba. Well, this is exciting. Video in this new A7R III. What's different? What's good?
Right. So first of all, they changed the sensor in this camera. So now you got basically a 5K video compressed in a 4K image, which is gonna be way better than the old R2 and the S2 actually. And at the same time, the new sensor has a better autofocus, which, you know, for people like me that use a lot of these Sony lenses, now I can actually finally trust the camera to track faces, and, you know, and actually do their job instead of just keep manually focusing.
Exactly. Autofocus is important, especially when you don't have a tilted screen. I'm still wondering, are they gonna come out with a A7S III? Okay, back home now, let's talk about this camera. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have a new actual real life camera instead of comparing the cameras from new smartphones, whether it's from the iPhone or the new Samsung or Pixel, blah, blah, blah. We got a real camera on our hands here, folks. Lots of tech specs to run through, but here are the ones that stuck out to me and hopefully matter the most to you. The new sensor is the same amount of megapixels, but they said the entire circuit has changed, new CPU processing, so there is better color accuracy and color definition. Now you can shoot 10 frames per second in continuous shooting and shoot up to 76 images per burst. So that's if you're shooting the JPEG in compressed RAW. And while you're doing this continuous shooting, there is no shutter blackout. Sony has improved the autofocus as well. So say you're shooting a moving subject and you're doing continuous shooting, every time you take a picture, say you're taking 10 in 1 second, it's going to re-autofocus on that subject's eyes or whatever you're shooting. There's new battery, so they introduced a new battery with the A9, but now you get up to 2.2 times the battery life. I've heard a lot of good things from this new battery and the battery life, which is pretty clutch because traditionally mirrorless cameras, and if you shot with the A7S or A7R in the past, you know that batteries tend to not last very long. And if you're in cold weather conditions, usually the battery will drop even faster. And according to a huge Instagrammer photographer, Chris Burkhart, who was there on the stage, he said this battery survives cold temperatures, which is amazing. Some of the features of the actual body of the camera has changed. They added a joystick, which is something I am used to coming from Canon cameras, which I am stoked for that. And now there are dual SD card slots. Basically, you can save the same things to both of the cards for redundancy, or you can just have dual storage. They added another USB port, so now you can charge the camera through USB-C or attach a remote control unit via the micro USB. Now let's dive into some of the important new video features. I probably care more about the video aspects of these cameras, so the number one thing that I notice is the tiny record button that's usually on the side of the camera and very hard to press is now closer to the viewfinder, and it's so much easier to press, guys. Look where the record button is. Previously, it has been right here on the edge. Very hard to press. This is easier, much easier. When talking picture profiles, this camera not only has S-Log2, but it has S-Log3 for 14 stops of dynamic range, and it really allows you to color grade the footage the way you want your footage to look. There's also a picture profile called HLG. It stands for Hybrid Log Gamma. So this supports instant HDR production without the need for color grading. So the new Apple 4K TV supports 4K HDR. HDR, high dynamic range, is being used a lot, whether it's cameras or TVs. It's everywhere. So this camera can shoot at 4K at 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second at 100 megabits per second. So you're gonna be getting a lot of data from this very intense sensor that is going to provide a lot of color accuracy to this video. The previous A7R II only shot 120 frames per second at 720, so my question is, yes, okay. So now we can shoot 1080 at 120 frames per second. So let's go ahead and look at the, okay. Yeah, sick. The new A7R III also has something called slow and quick mode. I think this is only in the A9, which is like a $4,500 camera, and then the A6500. I had never heard of this before today, and I am shocked if you've never heard of it. It basically stands for slow and quick. When you record video normally and you shoot 120 frames per second in 1080, when you look at that file on your computer, it's going to be normal speed. And then you have to go back in your editor and slow it down to 20% really to get that 120 frames per second slow motion look. This S&Q option that you can also get to quickly by customizing these custom buttons is a way to get this slow motion straight out of the camera. So you can set it anywhere from 60 frames per second to 120 frames per second. You hit the record button, and from the camera it's gonna be automatically in slow motion. Now it doesn't record audio during this setting, and it also records at a lower bit rate. So if you need slow motion quick straight to your camera, this is the way to do it. And also this is the side of it, the quick side of it, that I am more curious about. If you choose the settings of 1 frames per second or 2 frames per second, that means it's gonna shoot only 1 frame per second. You can set up your camera wherever, and basically it's gonna compile all of those frames into a 24 frames per second timeline or whatever you choose. So basically what I'm saying is this is a way to get time lapses straight out of your camera. I wanna try this out so bad. I'm tempted just to go buy the A6500 right now. I don't know if you can tell by this video, but it's very gear heavy and inspiration heavy. I just wanna go buy all the camera gear and shoot all the videos right now. So it has improved fast hybrid autofocus, where it can more accurately track moving subjects over a wider area. And then also this is super clutch. As you're recording 4K footage, you can simultaneously record a 4K proxy file. So a 4K image, a 4K video is going to be massive. And so a lot of people's computers can't handle that 4K movie. Sony, the camera, is basically going to do that work for you. Instead of going into Premiere and making proxy files, lower res files to edit and then reconnect after you finish editing, now this camera can make proxy files for you. So now when you go into Premiere or wherever you edit, you can bring in the 4K footage, bring in the proxy files, just edit with the proxy files, and then reconnect later. So now you don't have to deal with the headache of waiting for proxy files to be made of your 4K footage. I feel like I just spoke in a different language. If you didn't understand that, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll answer some of your questions. This camera has C1, C2, C3, these buttons that are for custom settings that you can now customize depending on you being in photo mode or movie mode. It's two separate things now. Something new about the menus is you can also have My Menu, where you can customize 30 different menu options just in your menu. So get out all the stuff that you don't normally use, and you can just use My Menu as your everyday menu. I just recently sold my A7R II, and my main shooter outside the RX100 is the A7S II. I am super impressed by the A7R III, and honestly, I kind of want one. I do. But the other side of me is like, what if the A7S III comes out in 6 months? I'm gonna be bummed that I didn't hold out for that. Typically the A7S has been geared for video. A7R is more geared towards photography with the higher megapixel sensor. I will definitely keep you guys updated on, is Sarah gonna buy a new camera? Who knows? Let me know what you think about this new Sony A7R III in the comments down below. Let me know if you liked this video. It was very fact heavy, but I really truly do enjoy stuff like this. And hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Join the Peachy fam. And until next time, stay peachy. Okay, bye.